Entering the ring is Shelby Hollis and Ruby Snyder. Class 2 on deck, Carson Knutson, JC Ramos, Abby Wilkinson, Bill Parker, and Brock Zimmerman.
Let's give our feeder hog class a big round of applause. Two entries in this class. Young lady with this broken belted gilt's going to win the class, no doubt. A female that has a lot of mass and power into that hog. Hog that comes at you with a huge chest floor. She leaves with that same advantage. Big top in her. I really like the curvaceousness to her rib. Very production oriented. The young lady with the wide belted gilt is going to come into second. I think a gilt that if she has some more time, she's a later maturing kind of a hog. I think she's certainly going to be a blue ribbon hog when she gets up to market weight. She has enough muscle shape and expression. She just doesn't have quite the mass and the bone that the hog in front of her has. For showmanship, young lady in the blue, you're going to be our pick for the showmanship. I think you do an outstanding job keeping that pig. That's not an easy pig to show, but you do a good job just keeping that pig on the move. Keep her in front of me. You're on the right side of the pig all the time. Young lady with the broken belted gilt there, I'd say you kind of like to be on that one side of that pig. Don't be afraid to keep that animal between you and me and working that pig. You're just kind of walking along. That pig works great for you. So you've done your homework, but just give me a little more intensity, a little more eye contact. Make sure that pig is between you and I at all times. Let's give both of these exhibitors a big round of applause.
ring, class 2, it's Carson Knutson, JC Ramos, Abby Wilkinson, Bo Parker, and Brock Zimmerman. Alexis Wells, Elena Neville, Haley Noland, Josie Lawman, and Avery Lefevre.
Let's give our first class of market hogs a big round of applause. This class is ranging from around 230 to 240 in weight. And I think we've got a class of pretty solid pigs in here. Maybe one that doesn't just quite jump to the top in this class. Um, we're still pretty light on our market weights, even though these pigs are certainly marketable. I think you can see some future in these pigs getting heavier too, and to what they can do. We're going to start with the young lady's broken belted pig right there, number 172 to win this class. And I think this pig, as you truly analyze this hog from the ground up, this gilt is got really a wide base on her. She comes at you with probably one of the biggest, truest chest floors, and you like the way this pig leaves away from you. She's got a ton of shape and expression into her. To be critical, I wish she had a little bit more top shape and a little bit more depth to her side, but I think, as this pig gets another 30 pounds on her, she'll be one of those top pigs that you'd see in a class. From there, I think it gets maybe a little bit more challenging, but I really like this red spotted hog right here, young lady. I think this pig comes in here and he's really pretty stout. He's got a lot of shape to his top. For me, maybe he's getting a little bit more pre-exposed to condition in his lower 1/3, and he's starting to kind of waste away up in that jowl and push a little bit more grease behind that elbow pocket. But I think this is a really good production-oriented pig. He's got a lot of depth to his side, maybe just a little bit quick in terms of his type and kind. From there, number 70 is going to come next, young man with the white pig. That mass face barrow, I think, is pretty true to his muscularity. I just wish he had a little bit more mass to him, a little bit more depth to his flank, but I think this pig still has a nice groove working down his top. I mean, he's got that lean shape and expression to him still at this point in time. I think this pig can certainly handle more weight and be market ready here in another 20, 30 pounds as well. From there, I think we have two pigs that I kind of go back and forth on. We're going to go with 159. Young man's in the blue plaid right here. I think your pig just maybe reads with a little more true mass and shape and expression to that ham. I think a pig that's pretty deep-sided. You like that barrow for his production orientation. I think he's just a little bit plain in terms of his type and kind. There's nothing that just jumps out there and says I'm the guy and I got all this shape and expression. And we'll round out the class with the young man's belted barrow on the fence there. I think to a barrow that you like the production to his rib, but for me, you start to read shape and expression, and this barrel gets really plain in terms of his type and kind, maybe pushes a little bit more grease in his lower 1/3. All blue ribbons to this class. I think these pigs are pretty solid, and certainly if the class was bigger, I think they're still in the upper half of this class. For showmanship, I think we have two young ladies that do a great job at showing in this class that always catch my attention, always in my view. We're going to give the showmanship pick to this young lady right here. But the young lady in the yellow, I mean, you're a close runner-up. I think you do a fantastic job driving that pig, maybe a pig that's just a little bit harder. For the young men, a couple things I'd say. You do a good job keeping that pig in front of me. I'd like to see a little more intensity from you. I mean, drive that pig. I mean, make me pick that pig out because you're always in front of me. But just catch my attention with your intensity and be deliberate in everything you do. The young man over here, I think you have kind of a tough time. That pig boss kind of came in here and says, I'm ready to go. You kept your cool, kept your composure, keep working that pig. He's just not responding very well to that stick, but you're always on the right side. I can always see your eyes. And young man over here, same thing with that white pig, maybe a little bit harder to show and keep that pig on the move out in the middle of the ring. He kind of wants to wander a little bit, but I think also too, you keep it up. Keep that pig between you and me at all times, and maybe just a tad bit more eye contact. Let's give all these exhibitors another big round of applause.
Avery Lefevre. Avery Lefevre. On deck, Class 4, Emily Martin, Austin Vaughn, Michaela Cooper, Sam Lefevre.
Let's give our second class of Margaret Hogs a big round of applause. Looks like this class runs from about 242 to 247, so pretty tight weight order. And I think we have three pigs in here that I think really rise to the top and need some looking at. They certainly are different in terms of their type and kind. We're going to go ahead and start with this young lady in the blues bear to win this class. I think he is different than most of the pigs out here. He is a deep-sided, massive kind of a pig. There's no question to me he's got the biggest top in this drive. I think you get behind this pig, and you certainly like the power that he has into his ham. I wish he was just a tad bit deeper, but what I can't get past is how long he is basically from his flank to his twist. I mean, he's just got a lot of muscle in there, and I think that maybe helps him rise to the class. Young lady does a great job showing him and making him look as extended as he can be, and that's where I'd be critical as he gets a little bit short and maybe quick in terms of his growth pattern, and he certainly can't handle a lot more weight. From there, I think we have two pigs that maybe are a little bit more similar. I like this young lady's blue pig. I think he is really a trendy looking pig. I think this pig would be our class winner in here. If he had another 20 pounds on him, I think he would be certainly tough to beat. For me, he just doesn't have quite the power and muscle into his top and into his ham. Certainly from an eye appeal standpoint, I think he is the prettiest barrow in this class. He's really up fronted and extended. I think you do a good job keeping that head up, young lady, and making him go. I think he just missing a little bit of mass and weight at this point in time. I think he comes in here another 20 pounds heavier. This is a hard pig to beat. Young lady that is going to come third in class is got that white belted gilt on the fence over there. I think you two, young lady, have a pig that's got a lot of mass and power in her. I think a gilt that has got plenty of depth to her side. For me, she just gets maybe a little bit more plain in terms of her pattern. She doesn't have maybe quite the style, and I appeal to those two pigs above her does. But I certainly think if this is a meat and potatoes kind of a dinner, this pig fits that bill and will sit on that plate really, really well. From there, I think we have maybe a little bit more of a separation, but I'd like the young lady's York gilt to come into fourth place in this class. I think, young lady, you have a gilt that certainly has a longer growth curve, and she comes in here another 30 pounds. I think she's going to be pretty stout, kind of a pig in terms of competition. For me, she just maybe gets a little bit outpowered in this class, especially as you analyze her down her top. She gets a pretty narrow at that ham lung junction. We just like to make more bold turn to that loin edge, maybe make her just a little bit deeper and opened up in the bottom part of her rib cage. And the Hereford pig's going to round out the class. Young lady, I think you certainly take a pig that's got a little different look and a little different breed character, and I think for Herefords, this is a pretty good pig. But for me, this pig is just kind of losing that shape and expression down his top and into his ham. No question, maybe one of the narrower base pigs in this class that just doesn't have quite the power and mass into his ham. I like the production in this pig. I think this pig has a nice depth to his side and to his flank, but for me, he just doesn't have enough power and mass in this class. With that, I think showmanship is in this class. We got some good showmen that are doing some good things. Young lady in the blue has just done an outstanding job. It's no question. She knows what she's doing in here. She's very deliberate in all her actions and her movements. She's always got that pig right in front of me. She knows her spacing really, really well. Second place is going to be the young lady with the blue pig. I think you do also a great job in this class. Maybe a pig you get a little farther away from me. I like to see you just a little bit closer from time to time. That whip kind of gets to going. Be deliberate with that action on that whip. Get that under that chin, and then when they're going, they're going. Young lady, I think you also do a good job. Maybe a pig that doesn't quite want to move out as good. You're working really hard getting this pig to kind of move out, but that's kind of maybe the thing that knocked you down just a little bit is that pig just doesn't want to kind of get out here and drive and move. Young lady in the purple, you did a great job driving that pig straight at me and straight away. I think you do a good job as well keeping on the right side of that pig, and you give me great eye contact. Maybe he gets a little farther away, and now this pig's getting a little tired up kind of on the rail. Young lady with the Hereford pig, at the beginning of this round, you were doing a great job with your showmanship skills. You give me good eye contact. You got a pig that's kind of a down-eared pig. The tough thing with that is you got to get their heads up so they look kind of appealing and alert in this class. And I think that pig is certainly hard to show. Let's give them all another big round of applause. Let's give this class of Margaret Hogs a big round of applause, please. Good, solid class. 4 hogs in this class, and all of them are going to be blue ribbon hogs. I certainly think they have the market readiness and ability to be good graders and hogs that are going to do well on the rail. I think we have one class winner that kind of rises to the top, and that's going to be the young man's wide belted hog right there in 137. Young man, you do a great job showing that pig, and you bring that pig in here. There's no question you drive that pig at me, and that barrow has the most width through his chest floor, and I think he's got the most massive top. From a side profile, that is that pig's best attribute. I mean, he just really blends extremely well from head to tail. For me, I wish he just had a little bit more mass as we watched him, drive away from us, drop that ham, and just kind of widen him out back there just a little bit more. But I think you've done a great job with hair and hide on that pig, and certainly do a good job showing that pig. For me, second place in this class is going to be this young man, 166, with this belted gilt here. I think a gilt that also has the trendiness and the eye appeal to kind of get in that top group. I think a gilt you get behind her, and you certainly like all the shape and expression that she has. She's one that is real expressive down her top and has a nice turn to that loin edge, and certainly gets deep into that flank. From there, I think we have 2 pigs that have some contrasting types. We're going to go with the young lady's hamp pig, number 163, next in this class. I think that pig just has a lot of production there. She's got a lot of mass, or that barrow has a lot of mass to him. Maybe a pig that's getting a little pre-exposed to condition at this point in time, maybe gets a little bit wastier, but I think we certainly have enough bacon into that pig to make him extremely valuable on the market. And you get behind that pig, and you certainly like the width and dimension that he has in his ham. He kind of gets out in his hip just a little bit, and maybe just not hinged right in that hip and hock, but I certainly think a pig that's really production oriented. Young lady's white pig's going to come next, and I think, young lady, you got a pig that also you've done a great job with hair and hiding that pig. That pig is expressive, certainly leaner than the pig just above it, but for me, that barrow probably just gets outpowered in this class, just kind of loses some of that mass into that ham. Even though we like that turn to that loin edge and maybe the depth of the side, I think we just need a little bit more power and bone in that pig to get higher in this class. Let's give them all a big round of applause for that. The young man's for showmanship, the young man in the plaid right here. I think you've just done a fantastic job keeping that pig in front of me. You're very deliberate in all your motions. You, young man, I think you're doing an extremely good job. You give me a lot of intensity in your showmanship style. You work that pig. You keep that pig on the move really well. Every once in a while, maybe that pig just doesn't quite go where you want it to go from time to time, and I just say that's just a little bit of homework. Young lady with the white pig, I like how calm and smooth you are, young lady. I would just say be a little bit more aggressive, making that pig go where you want him to go. Work that pig from the shoulder forward, and I'd also say that to the young lady in the green. That pig is kind of a hard one to show, wants to be kind of on the rail, and part of that's kind of by a structure. He just doesn't want to walk too much. But I'd say, work that pig from the shoulder forward. Use your free hand, tap him on that loin to get him to go. Just kind of try to do the best job you can, keep him moving. I like the eye contact that you give me, even from a distance. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
Entering Levi Johnson, Sylvia Fink, Wyatt DeRose, Anona Marsh, Lainey Moore, Shannon Monahan. On deck, Class 6, Kylie Staniford, Lexi Brockway, Rowan Lair, Duke Wenzel.
I think undoubtedly this is the most competitive class of the day. Um, I think there's a pig I can kind of hang my hat on in this class, and that's going to go to this young lady with that big belted barrow there. Young lady, I think this pig comes in, and he's certainly maybe the most different. He's probably the biggest, most massive pig in this class. As you start to study him from the ground up, I think that barrow certainly kind of tracks out like I am the man in here, and I really appreciate the amount of power and mass in this pig. You get this pig on the side profile. I mean, his structure is flawless. It kind of just ties into his skeleton extremely well. He's one of the deepest sided pigs in here without question. And I think as you kind of analyze that pig, he's got enough groove working down his top. He's got enough expression. That might be the criticism is, he's kind of starting to reach his end point just a little bit. But I think, young lady, you've done a great job feeding him to this and bringing him in at this point, because I think this is the best he's going to look at this weight. From there, I think we have probably three hogs that I think any judge would have all mixed up. I think they're similar enough that the differences are something we can kind of talk about. But I'm just going to kind of talk about mass and true width, and I'm going to go with the young lady with the blue plaid over here. I think you come second in this class. I think you have the second most powerful pig in this class. Maybe a pig that gets kind of short in his face and he gets kind of short in his hip and hock just a little bit, wants to kind of drop in his ham lung junction. Put that aside, I think he's one of the nicest pigs in terms of hide and hair in this class. He's got tons of expression. He's got huge foot into him. I think he just got the power, and he probably just needs to go in there in terms of just overall cutability into second place. The young man's pig over here on the fence is going to come next. Man, I like the style and the eye appeal of that pig. I think you get that gilt on the side profile and get her head up, and she certainly is long and extended, and she's really pretty and showy in this class. I think you get behind her, and you certainly like all the shape and expression she has. She's got a huge groove working down her top. For me, she maybe gets just a little bit shallower in her side. I'd like to see her just more curvaceous in that lower rib, just see a little bit more depth into that lower part of her ham. But I think that is a really good pig that I think any judge can move up through 1 through 3 probably in this class. Young lady, I also like that black pig quite a bit. I think that gilt is really stylish. You do a tremendous job showing that gilt at a nice pace on the side profile. For me, if you really study her from the ground up, I don't think she's all that wide. I just like to pull apart her skeleton and just add more mass and lower center body to that pig. But I think that pig has a lot of shape and expression that really pops in this ring. And I think you do a good job with that pace. Certainly a pig that has got a lot of style and eye appeal as well. From there, we're going to go with the young man's black pig there. That barrow, young man in the blue, I think that barrow just certainly has enough production into him. You really like the production of that rib cage. For me, that pig's getting really loaded up in his lower 1/3, probably one of the wastier pigs we've seen so far. He's still got enough shape to working down his top, but for me, I think that kind of knocks him down. He's got so much grease in his lower 1/3. He's got enough bone. He's got enough foot size. I think he's certainly got enough power, but we just like to trim that pig up just a little bit more. On the other end of the spectrum, young lady with the white spotted hog there, I think you have a gilt that can really stand a much heavier weight in this range. A gilt that certainly shows some lean shape and expression, but for me, she's just really small-footed and really narrow gauge, and we just need to pull her apart and give her a lot more production. Maybe even slam her down to the ground just a little bit, just to give her that rib shape and that production and efficiency to her flank. Let's give them all a big round of applause for their market confirmation class. As far as showmanship, this young lady with the black hog, you win this class for me. I think you just do a fantastic job driving that gilt. Very stylish showman. You're the one constantly in front of me. Give me really good views going forward and away. From there, we'll just kind of talk all about you. Young lady with the white pig, I think you just have a pig that's a little harder to show. She just kind of wants to be on the rail and wants to kind of run around the ring. Good job just kind of keeping your composure and keeping her working for you. Young lady here in the blue, I also think you do a fantastic job showing a pig. I see you quite often. You did a great job, nice pace showing that pig. Work on keeping that, get under that chin just a little bit more, get that barrow's head up just a little bit more. I think he will really stand out in the class. young man in blue, you do a tremendous job. You're a fantastic showman as well. Maybe a pig that wants, kind of get out from me from time to time, but when you get that driving to me and away from you, you did an outstanding job. I think you have a nice pace about you. You're really always on the right side of that pig and give me good eye contact, and you're very deliberate in your showmanship skills. And the young man with the black pig over here in the corner, you too, great eye contact. You know where I'm at. You're really intense kind of a showman. Maybe a little bit quiet, and I need to see you just give me a little bit more just to kind of pop in the showmanship ring. But you also have a pig that's, kind of hard to keep on the move and kind of wants to be on the fence as well. Young lady in this plat over here, I think you started out doing a fantastic job. You're very deliberate in how you show that pig. Kind of as the rounds kind of gone on, I just kind of lose you from time to time. Keep that pig in front of me. Just, I'd say, be a little bit more aggressive with your stick and make that pig go where you want to go. But I think you're doing a lot of right things, good eye contact. Got a nice slow pace and a calm demeanor in this class. Let's give them all another big, big round of applause as they leave the ring. good class of heavier hogs. We're in that 270 range, 271 to 278 in this class. And I think we have two pigs in here that we really can kind of sort and evaluate to the top fairly easily. I'm going to go ahead with the young lady's barrow there over there on the fence. I think that belted barrow just comes in here and just has a ton of rib in him. Very massive through that chest floor. One of the widest top pigs in this class, no question. I think you get behind this pig and you maybe want to see a little bit more shape and expression, but you just cannot get back past how big a foot this pig has and how efficient this pig looks. And I think this young lady does a great job getting that head up and making that pig really showy on the side profile. For me, the second place, no question, is going to be the young man with the black pig there. I think this barrow has a ton of shape and expression in him, and you can maybe argue maybe he's a little bit more pulled apart at those blades and comes down really square on all fours. I would just like to see a little bit bigger foot size, maybe a little bit more efficiency to that rear flank, drop that ham just a little bit, but there's no question. I love the width in that pig. I love the turn that he has to his loin edge. Just want to make him just a little bit more opened up in that lower rib cage for me. From there, the young man with that blue-headed white hog comes next. No question, a production-oriented pig in my mind, very efficient in his look. A pig that's got a ton of rib shape into him. You like the mass that he has carrying down his top. But to be critical, a pig that is one that is getting a little bit over conditioned. He's packing a little bit more grease behind his elbow pockets and through his lower 1/3. And you get behind him and you just like to see a little bit more mass and expression into that ham. Young lady brings the Duroc pig in this class. I think a Duroc that still has enough muscle and cutability in him. Maybe he's a little bit plainer and rounder over his top. We'd like to see just a touch more expression and groove down his loin edge. But for me, I think young lady, you have a pig that is really complete in terms of his structure, moves around the ring extremely well, is really hinged in his shoulder and joints very well. I just like to see that pig maybe a little bit deeper, just a little bit more pulled apart and massive in his overall power. As far as showmanship, you though are going to win this class for me. You're going to be my showmanship pick. You have not quit showing no matter what. That pig has worked for you. You've been in the middle of the ring. You give me great eye contact, nice pace. Certainly a good one to kind of tie your hat to in showmanship. From there, I'll talk about these individuals. Young man, I think you give me great eye contact. You're a very intense showman. You just got a railer. I mean, the pig just wants to be on the rail. You just got to get that pig, work harder to get that pig out in the middle of the ring for me so we can really see that pig. But I think you're always on the right side. You're giving me good eye contact. It's just kind of getting that pig stuck on the rail. Young man with the black pig, there's instances where you just look fantastic. You did a great job driving that pig. Maybe just turn that pig just a little bit quicker when you bring him to me. I like pigs and I like petting your pig. I just don't need him that close, But I think you give me visions where you give me great eye contact, you get down and you're very intense, and then you're kind of gone again. I just need to see that all the time. And then the young lady that comes second in this class to win in the pin, I think you do a great job. You know what you're doing. You just got a pig that's just a little harder to move. Be just a tad bit more aggressive. Get that pig out in the ring because I know you got the skills and you know what you're doing with that pig. Just get him out there just a little bit more deliberately. Let's give them all a big, big round of applause as they leave the ring.
All right, entering the ring next for Champion Drive is JC Ramos, Abby Wilkinson, Alexis Wells, Haley Nolan, Austin Vaughn, Sam Lefevre, Sylvia Feet, Anona Marsh, Lexi Brockway, and Rowan Lamb.
Let's give your intermediate champion drive of Market Hogs a big, big round of applause. We got 10 good, solid pigs in this class, and it's kind of fun to evaluate your kids and what they've done with their projects on this crazy year. And I'm glad that you guys have kept your work up. And it's really easy to just say, well, we're just going to quit. Okay, and you guys have kept feeding your pigs, even though you didn't know if there was going to be a fair or not. And I really appreciate that. And it's been fun to evaluate your kids today. I'll go pick your champion and then your reserve. Let's give them one more big, big round of applause. This is a born and bred, as the exhibitor owns the dam to this gilt as well. This is a tremendous female. I think a gilt that comes into this class, and she is super feminine, but she's got all the width and power that you need in raising some market hogs. For a Hamp Cross gilt, she is deep sided. She's really even and correct in her underline, mature in her vulva. She has the power, and she's got the structural correctness to have a lot of longevity in the crate. So no question, this gilt could handle a lot more competition and still done extremely well. I think, young lady, you've done a great job, and it appears to me you got an outstanding project going. So you'll be the champion of the February division, and get a blue ribbon for your bred and own as well. Let's give her a big round of applause. So these are our January gilts, and we actually have two divisions in here. Young lady with the Chester, and I'm going to go ahead and separate them out. I think this Chester is really a special for her breed. She is a beast in terms of her growth and performance, the bone that she has for a Chester, but she also has all the maternal things that we expect from the Chester Whites as well. Very feminine up through her front, very even in her underline. I think this is a gilt that's going to make a great sow. She's good in her structure. Certainly, she doesn't have as much power as maybe the terminal crosses that we have in here, but I think, young lady, you're doing a great job raising a breed that's not very common on the West Coast, and I certainly think this female certainly has the attributes to represent her breed really well. In our crossbred division, we've got three pigs in here, and there's definitely some growth and some size differences in this class. And I think there's two gilts that maybe are kind of contrasting in terms of their types. I'm going to go ahead and make the young lady in the blue against the backdrop our winner and champion of the division. I think you just can't get past the growth and performance you have in that female. She's a gilt that's still even and productive in her underline. I think she has enough muscle and mass, and I think she gives us a lot of avenues to breed a board to. I think we can go a lot of different directions and get the muscle and power from them. But I think what we can't get past is, the structural correctness that we see in this gilt, the length and extension. But most importantly, as we put more muscle on these animals, their efficiency tends to go down. This is a gilt that can keep that efficiency in those pigs. The young lady with the smaller ham gilt there, I love that gilt in a lot of ways. To me, she's probably more massive and more shapely than the gilt that wins this class, but she is a little bit lower to the ground, maybe shorter in her growth curve and a little bit quicker in terms of her type and kind. And I think that, hurts us in maybe some of the avenues of what we can breed this gilt to and make productive and showy offspring out of her. But I certainly think as a gilt, as a female to raise market hogs, if you plan that right, you can be very, very successful with that gilt as well. The Burke Cross gilt there is going to round out their class. And, I think she gets out pounded in this class just a little bit. There's no question. I think this gilt is really showy and trendy. You get that head up young lady, and she, has that eye appeal attribute. She just gives up too much mass and growth and performance to get any higher in this class. Let's give them all another big, big round of applause.